What happens when you take something that's smart and fast and shrink it down into a smaller package?
You get me?
Last year, we reviewed the DJI Phantom 4 and it instantly became our favorite drone. It was very easy to set up, very fun to fly around, and produced amazing quality footage. But it had just one big problem that kept us from using it. It was such a big hassle to lug that thing around. That and drone regulations in Canada, but that's another video for another time. The Phantom 4 is relatively compact, but keeping it safe takes up a lot of space because of how delicate the propellers and gimbal are. Take a look at the case. It measures a whopping 14.5 inches tall, 12.5 inches wide, and 8.5 inches thick. To put things into perspective, that's bigger than some ITX computer cases out there. And because of the shape, you couldn't even put it into a backpack comfortably. The next thing was the controller. With essentially the same shape and size of the original Phantom 1 drone, which came out over 4 years ago, this thing was also tough to transport without scratching the glossy shell. So while we loved using the Phantom 4, we always had to think ahead. We had to plan out how we would transport it, if there was somewhere safe to store it when we weren't using it, and if it was even worth lugging it all around. In the end, we left it in our studio more often than not. But since then, DJI has released the Mavic Pro, a drone with the same capabilities as the Phantom 4 but coming in at a fraction of the size. And if that wasn't enough, it folds down to an even smaller fraction. So that begs the question, is the Mavic Pro our new favorite drone? Let's start with an outside tour. As you can see, DJI has ditched the glossy white look for a matte gray finish, which feels much more rugged and scratch resistant. It also looks much more aggressive and less like a toy, which is good and bad depending on where you're trying to fly. The propeller blades have been redesigned and now fold in half as well. They still mount using quick disconnects, but combined with the new folding arms, you can now store the drone with the blades still attached. It's a very handy feature, but we'd still recommend removing the blades. When they're folded, they actually rub against the body of the drone. While that doesn't really sound like a big deal, blades need to be perfectly balanced, so you want to avoid scratching or bending them as much as you can. The camera remains the same as the original Phantom 4 with a 1x23-inch sensor, 4K resolution, and 30 FPS. This is not the same one as the camera found in the Phantom 4 Pro, which features a larger 1-inch sensor. The lens on it is slightly different as well, with a narrower 78-degree field of view instead of the original 94-degree field of view. All the sensors found on the Phantom 4 can be found on the Mavic as well. There are 2 forward-facing cameras, 2 downward-facing cameras, and 2 downward-facing ultrasonic rangefinders. As a result, you get all of the same autonomous features such as obstacle avoidance, precision hovering, tap to fly, follow mode, course lock, point of interest, and waypoints. Although none of these features are new, we were impressed that nothing was neglected when downsizing from the Phantom 4. Now, between the Mavic and the Phantom 4, both in sport mode, their performance is just within 11% of each other. 27 minutes versus 28 minutes of flight time, a max forward speed of 40 miles per hour versus 45 miles per hour, max ascending speed of 5 meters per second versus 6 meters per second, and a max descent speed of 3 meters per second versus 4 meters per second. But wait a second, the smaller drone is actually slower than the big one? On paper, yes, but in reality, it actually feels much more nimble. Because the Mavic weighs only 734 grams compared to the Phantom 4 at 1,380 grams, it accelerates and changes direction much quicker, something that the specifications don't show. It also seems to hover in place better, although we're not sure if that's because of the smaller air resistance on the Mavic, or if the blades on our Phantom 4 are slightly out of balance. Now let's move on to the controller. This new one is much smaller, and it even features an OLED screen with all the information you need. It lets you fly the drone without a phone attached, but you won't have a live view of your camera, and you lose camera-related features like tap to fly. The controls offer good feedback, and the new tougher plastic and rubberized grip feel great in the hands. There are, however, 2 small downsides to the new controller. DJI includes multiple micro USB, Lightning, and USB Type-C cables for connecting pretty much any smartphone. But threading it through the connector and plugging it into your phone can be a bit finicky at times. And finally, the controller is mainly designed for a smartphone less than 160mm long and thinner than 8.5mm. which means no native support for tablets and some problems fitting in phones with a thick case. Due to where the phone sits, it also makes it a bit awkward to attach a screen hood as well, so make sure you use a phone that's easily visible outdoors. And that brings us to our conclusion. The DJI Mavic Pro is a smaller, nimbler drone with the great features found in the full-size Phantom 4. Video quality is just as good, and there's no contest when it comes to portability and convenience. As an added bonus, additional batteries for the Mavic are just $89 versus $169 for the Phantom. Oh, and the Mavic itself comes in at $999 versus $1,349 for the Phantom 4 Advanced. If you're looking for a drone that's fun to fly and shoots excellent video, then we think the choice is pretty simple. We didn't get a chance to try out the DJI goggles with OcuSync, but leave a comment down below if you're interested in seeing that. Thanks for watching, and click over here for previous videos. Check us out on Twitter over here. But as always, like the video if you liked it, comment down below for fans with benefits, and subscribe for more videos like this from NCIX. We'll see you later. Just gonna